Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lilu Nishmas Mordechai. Let me tell you, it was unbelievable. Baruch gave us an idea. We tried it out. We went for it. In New York, set share, a couple hundred people showed up. And a lot of the people agreed to make phone calls and reach out. And I have some videos to show you. But I'll tell you, the bottom line is, after all the tallying and everything, close to 250 people are returning for Kiddushin. That's an amazing number. It's okay. So let me just show you real quickly. So a lot of people from the shul came to see the shir, and then they didn't feel comfortable sticking around. There were people here that came over to me during, I was trying to make phone calls, and people were coming over. I said, listen, I'm sorry, I need to make phone calls. I said, what about you? Are you gonna? He says, no, I can't make phone calls. I said, try. People tried, and they brought back a person, two people. They felt so good about themselves. So actually, people learned how to do it. And other congregations, cities, places could do the same exact thing, bring more people back to Torah. It's so easy. And especially if you do the status thing, I was supposed to put a QR code today, and I forgot to put it on. But let me just show you real quickly, very quickly. Here we go. Oh, it's not on the screen, sorry. Let's do it again.
So now you're rejoining?
The way it works is you get a piece of paper with 4 names on it, and you fill out. He's rejoining, he's current, he didn't pick up. Here's a little bit of me. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. So I got 5 people to rejoin. What are you talking about? Akiva Solkowitz is asking who would say no to me. Akiva Solkowitz said no to me 4 or 5 times. They dragged him into the Beis Medrash that night. And I told everybody, if he comes, everybody stand up and clap. He walked in, everybody. He didn't know what to do with himself, but he rejoined. I spoke to him again today. He's serious about it. So it was a tremendous success, and now we're just going to improve on it and go weiter. Hopefully other cities do the same. This is by MDY Anonymous, ndyanonymous2023@gmail.com. Kiddushin with the diamond ring. Hey, Rebelli, I made this email address, so I would stay anonymous, as you read an email or 2 from me before and wanted to remain anonymous, and I ignored him. I'm from Toronto, and I'll tell you who this guy is, because I asked around, and we did a reverse email thing, and I'll tell you his name at that. I'm kidding. I'm from Toronto and spent 6 weeks in Israel recently, coming to Yeshir all the time. Who could it be already? I've been doing the Dav with you since Ksubis, missing Yavamas, but did a number of mistakes with you before I started doing the actual Dav on the actual day. I made a scene on my son's bris 11 and a half months ago in Sukkah with your help. I just got him his first Shas, because why not? Picture attached. Here it is. He got him his first Shas. Shoshana. Okay? I was thinking about your current campaign to get people to come back to MDY since falling off, and I thought, what's better than donating a diamond engagement ring to the cause for Kiddushin? A diamond engagement ring. I have no idea what he means and what he's trying to do here. I've already been in touch with Yosef Biliak, but I think he thought I was joking. Be in touch with me, and we can try to make this happen. Sincerely, Anonymous. Okay? What can we do with a diamond ring, boys? I don't know. Anybody have whoever? What?
I need to get married.
You do?
I do, yeah.
What are you going to do? How's it going to help bring back people to Kiddushin? Maybe I should use it for my little...
We'll give away at the wedding.
This is from Jonathan Itzkowitz. I got this from Akiva Ziegler as well. This is from the chat. Dynamite. I had a blast making those calls and successfully re-signed 5 to 6 people. Just to see the smile on Rebelli's face was well worth the effort. I usually do not like making boiler room calls. This was different, as I wasn't asking anyone for a $1 donation. If you guys actually thank me for calling, you're not asking, you're just helping them, trying to give them something. How many times did you call somebody and say, do you want a free Gemara? One guy signed up and didn't want a free Gemara. The most pleasant evening was had by all. Oh, David Bedil, but by the way, he came in all the way from somewhere next to Muncie, and probably like an hour and a half trip, and he got 10 people to rejoin. Dear Rebellia, it was a real privilege to be involved with the campaign last night. We were given the opportunity to bring people back to the shir. was making the phone calls to our MDY Chaverim, both old and current members. It made me think of an idea that will be a great way to help retain those that are part of MDY. We can create a global MDY buddy program where all members sign up to partner up with another member from the share. It's amazing. I read this email maybe an hour ago. 3-4 hours ago, I left a voice message on our chat that I have with Nissan Gans and Yossi Klein. And I said, you heard this here first. Let's make a Shomer program. We have one guy in charge of like 10 people. It was based on last night also. I guess everybody came up with the whole same chap because I heard later on Rabbi Chekna also said something like that. People should check in. Did you do the daf today? Like you have a shomer. If you didn't say Birkas Hamazon, you ate and you want to go to shul, so you make a shomer or whatever. You didn't daven. You tell somebody, you make sure I do it. You have a buddy system. That's all did it. Check in. Done. Did the daf today. Do you do it? Person is struggling. Give him chizuk. One guy on top of 10. One guy on top of those 10. We have sorry Allah, sorry Meis. Halavai one day. Once everyone has a partner, they can arrange a weekly call to be mechazik each other and discuss the daf, etc. Between those 10, they can have their own little group and whatever. I believe in an idea along these lines. I've been suggestions already, but I wanted to provide my feedback after making the calls last night. I sense we have a lot of members out there who would greatly benefit from such a program. Mir Hashem, look forward to seeing you again soon. Best regards, David Badiel, all the way from Manchester. Moved here, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. One more.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Russell Rosenfeld coming to you straight out of Playa del Carmen, Mexico. From Woodmere, I've been with you since Pesachim. Just want to give you a yashkayach. Usually on vacation, I tend to push off the daf till afterwards and then struggle to catch up. But since you always say it's not about the daf, it's about the yomi, wanted to give you yashkayach. I got up earlier this morning, did the daf, and now I'm up to date. Yashkayach, thank you for all that you do. Have a good Shabbos.
Unbelievable. Beautiful. Chizik for everybody. What? No. We have about 20,000 people in our database that at one point in time were part of the shir, got a free Gemara, wrote in the email, whatever. We have a database. So we went through, it took time to make the New York. We just took the New York numbers. We separated. London gets London. And so now we have a list of like 400 names or so from Los Angeles. We need people in Los Angeles to hop the list and go. And unfortunately, I forgot to call the people in Los Angeles, but I hope somebody did, etc. Every city has a list now. It's broken down. It's not complete, and we don't know who's on and who's off. That's the problem. So unfortunately, many of the people I called were off. Yeah, because no one in Chicago took the initiative. The Koilo. There's probably like 20 people on the list anyway. You can take them all. Koilo, sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood, because everybody else is in the shir. Besides Simi. Anonymous from Lakewood, Shalom Esther Bas Bela, Koilo for the day. Miriam Chaya Bat Brana Doba is being induced for healthy labor and delivery for mother and child. They trip me up because they can't put a lot of words here, a lot of letters. L&D. I'm supposed to know that. I'm not a doctor. The Masechta, Moshe Banda, to thank Hashem, that I'm able to thank him for everything that I have. Kids, healthy baby, Bezer Hashem. The Paras HaChodesh Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh Rochel B'lei Dayan All Mind Devas Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Leah. Paras HaChodesh Dr. Avrum Epstein, a memory of the third yahrzeit of his beloved Raiza Gitl Bas Zeav. Paras HaChodesh Mordechai ben Esther for complete Refuah Shalema B'Korim. Paras HaChodesh Leah Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Paras HaYoim Avrom Farkovits Leah Nishmas my niece. Rochel Bas Reb Daniel Shlomo Miri Farkovits. Parnas Hayoim, Rabbi Eli Greenblatt, Rabbi Nachum Mendel ben Tzvi, which today is the yahrzeit. Parnas Hayoim, brain intact, unleash your full potential, should be zoich to nachas dusha, and tremendous success in all my endeavors. Parnas Hayoim, Mordechai Sapoznick, Leah Nishmas, his great grandfather's yahrzeit, Avrohom Yeshayahu ben R Yechiel Michoel Sapoznick, Zechorah Rochel, may his Nishmas have an aliyah. Mordechai was there yesterday as well. And Parnas Hayoim by Abba Rennert. Welcome to Dudi Friedman. Welcome back to his father, Moshe, Dudi Iraq. And Abba Yishkoch for the wine. My son-in-law is here, and he's a big wine guy, and he thought that I bought the bottle myself. I'm not going to tell him otherwise unless he watches the shir. Shkoyach Reb Abba. Art of the month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. No, seriously, I'm on a high. Flew in, flew out. learned so much. I went to eat in this place afterwards, like it was already after midnight. And the oilam, I have videos of the oilam screaming, "Good morning, Rabbi Eli," the whole restaurant went, New York, it's like in the middle of the day. The play had literally 50, 60 people sitting eating hamburgers at 12:30 in the morning. And then this big YouTuber guy came and interviewed us. It was gewaldig. Okay. Nothing's open past 8. Oh, some places, shouldn't say. All right, Rabbi Eli, here we are, in Daf Pei Vav Amud Aleph, all the way by the Mishnah. Somehow we got to the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Shloisha Gittin Psulin V'im Niseis Havlat Kosher. So remember the word Shloisha. Shloisha means 3 to exclude what? A fourth thing that maybe we could think, so the Gemara is going to discuss why it's a Shloisha. There are 3 Gittin that are apostle. And if she doesn't care and she marries based on that get, her kid is not a mamzer. Meaning it's a good get, just Rabbanan said you shouldn't use it. What are the 3? Kosav, B'chsav, Yodoi, Ve'ena Lo. So we're going to see there are other Gittin similar, but not quite. Some of them you have to leave your husband. Some of them, the Vlad is mamzer, Yishkoyach Mark. Oh, by the way, Yishkoyach Mark Ashkenazi, who at 3:30 in the morning in Eretz Yisrael on his vacation, he's filling in for Avram. He was up the whole night with our shir and everything else. So Yishkoyach to both of them. So here you have the get. He wrote it with his own handwriting, the husband with his own handwriting. And if you look in the bottom, where the Adam sign, it's missing. It's in red. That doesn't, Gershom ben Gary and Merab ben Akash doesn't exist in this get. And he divorced her with it. So Rashi points out like this. So first of all, it says in the pasuk of a kosav law sever krisos. Special halacha about the husband himself writing the get. So there's a mile of him writing it versus telling the cipher to write it. Now, if you recall the famous machlokes between Meir and Eliezer, what did the Edom do? According to Meir, that the Edom that are signed on the get, they are the ones that create the get. So this cannot be Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Eliezer says Edom is Siri Karti. So maybe that's good. The problem is, says Rashi, Rabbi Eliezer is at the end of the Mishnah. It says Rabbi Eliezer, he has his own shita. So this can't be Rabbi Eliezer either. So it's not Rabbi Eliezer, not Rabbi Meir. So at this point, it's neither. Or Yeshal of Edim Ve'im Ba'izman. So this get has Edim, but all the way in the beginning of the get, as depicted over here, where the Berevi B'Shabbos B'Chalas Yom Lerech Sivan is missing, and you use this get, the kids are not mamzer. Yesh Ba'izman Ve'im Ba'Eloi Echad. What if it has everything, but it's missing one of the 2 Edim? Merab ben Akash is gone. Harei elu shloisha. So once again, the Mishnah tells you a number, and anytime the Mishnah says a number, it comes to exclude a different number. Shloisha Gittin Psulim. These are the 3 Gittin that are apostle. V'mniseis havlad kosher. Do not use it. But if she didn't listen, she used the get, then her kid is not a mamzer. Rebbe Eliezer Omer. Even if there's no edim at all. Because once again, Rabbi Eliezer holds edim Mesir Karti like you see over here. Kosher. What's nechasim shuab adam? So nechasim shuab adam is real estate that's a collateral to a loan. So over here we're not even talking about a ksuba. You could say we're talking about a ksuba, but if the goyva, it depends how you read it. But let's say we're talking about just a regular document, as the Gemara is going to say at the end. So there you go. You have a malv and a loiva. The loiva is sitting on a piece of property. He wants to borrow money from the guy on the left. So he gives him a shtar. He gives him. What happens is the property becomes meshubad. Now it's collateral to the malva. If the loiva doesn't pay back the loan, then the malva gets to keep the property. What happened was the loiva goes and sells the property. Too bad on the buyer, because if the loiva doesn't pay back, since it's meshubad, the property goes to the malva and the buyer loses. So if you have a document that doesn't have Eidim, just like we just said, that if there's a shtar, if there's a get without Eidim, it's a good get. So if you have a loan document, I borrowed money from so-and-so, and all I have are witnesses that saw the loan, but they didn't sign, that's enough. Now we're going back to get. Eidim only signing the get. We don't want that one day, if the Eidim die, the Eidim witness the get, they're dead. Then the husband comes, a big chacham, 30 years later, and says, I never divorced this woman. And she doesn't have witnesses, they're dead. So in order for trouble not to happen, to fix the world, sign in the document, and then we don't have issues. As the Gemara V'Suleka, we have other. I like when Mark's on. I see he's changing it for me. You guys don't even have to remind me. You see it happening by itself. Now you know what I'm talking about. When it happens by itself, for somebody in Eretz Yisrael or somewhere else pushes that button when I space out. So, V'Suleka, there's another case of a get that you shouldn't use, and if you use, it's not a problem. What you get Yashan, Rabbi Eli, we're doing Chazar here. Get Yashan. Get Yashan is a get that was written, and before the husband delivered it, he secluded himself. He was misyachad with his wife. Says the Gemara, Hasam loy teitze, hacha teitze. You can't put it in our Mishnah because yes, it's similar but not the same. In our Mishnah, she must leave her second husband. Her kids are not mamzerim, but she must leave. Says the Gemara, Nichel amano teitze. We're gonna have machlokes. Okay, that's great. It's great teretz if you say that in our Mishnah she has to leave. But if our Mishnah you say she doesn't have to leave, then it's identical to the Get Yashin case. So how come the Get Yashin case is not in our Mishnah? Michael and Meimar. Says Gemara something else. It's still different. By Get Yashin, get married. Now I get kirech. Now I don't know what happened. I feel bad. I couldn't find my get kirech. It's the fan that I said I'm going to save it. I don't know what I did with it. I said, okay, whatever. You sew it and the whole thing. What was the point of that get? Again, we have a kohen who was married, and we don't want him to divorce his wife because if he divorces his wife, he can't get back with her. There's no maxim kushal in a kohen. Somebody just sent me that they asked Reb Chaim Kanievsky, how come you don't divorce your wife or you're married to be kind of two mitzvahs? So he said, because my wife knows me well, and she probably won't get back with me. Okay? So, now, Shalom Brand was, who got back 10 people already, 10 people. He's a big influencer in New York. So, he called me up, he did this voice thing, and I told him this Maisa. I knew that he didn't watch the Shirya. He watches it the next day, maybe it's the day behind. So I tell him the story. So Don Zlatnik, on the phone call, he says, and what if your wife doesn't want to take you back? So I said, no, maybe that's an added benefit. We're all laughing. So he says, listen, did I say brand? Shalom brand. So he asked me afterwards, could I post it? I said, you can post it because they were schmoozing. Zlatnik doesn't want to put up a stand. You know, these are the cool guys in Flatbush. They put a stand and give out Gemaras. And Rand wants them to go give out Gemaras. So I said, you know what? If you go into like one of the most popular stores in the mountains and you stand outside and give out Gemaras, you could post it, make fun of me. So that's what he did. So far he posted it. Let's see if he opens up the stand. We'll see. So you have this get that you take a piece of paper and you take the get, you write over here something, then you fold it, and then you sew it, and then the aide signs his name over here. And then they fold it again this way and back that way. It's a whole mahalach. Anyway, you have a fan, and it's sewn, and there's eidim, and depending on how many folds you have, that's how many eidim you have. So what happens if you have one of the folds without an aid? It's called a get kireach. This is called a get mekusher, right? The fan is a get mekusher. But if the get mekusher has one part of it that doesn't have the signature, then it's possible. So get kireach, look, it has enough eidim, it has more than enough eidim, it has 5 eidim in there. but it has 6 folds and you don't have 6 Eidim, so we say you can't use it. So why isn't that not in our Mishnah? Says Gemara, Hasam Avlad Mamzer. Whew! You hear this? You have 5 Eidim, you're missing 1 Eid. You have more than enough Eidim. The kid is a Mamzer. Hacha Avlad Kosher. That's what our Mishnah says. The kid is kosher, not a Mamzer. Now, if you're saying, how's the kid a Mamzer? Rabbi Meir says that if you change 1 iota of what Chacham tell you to do, and they said that on each fold you have to sign, and you only sign 5, not 6, the kid is a mamzer. That's the halacha. Now, it's the Rabbanan that mamzer, not the Raiza mamzer. El Rabbanan, Michael Rabbanan argue with Meir. So why is it not in our Mishnah? Says Gemara, Hasam Teitze, Hacha Loy Teitze. You have to say that over there she has to leave him. Over here you don't have to leave. The opposite of what we said before. That's great according to the one we have the machlokes. According to Malam, it says you don't have to leave. So our Mishnah is great. But if over here she has to leave her husband, and by get mikusher, that's a kireach, you don't. Sorry. If over here is Teitze and over there is Teitze, they both have to leave. Michael and Meimar says the Gemara Mekusher like Miri. At the end of the day, who uses Mekusher? Maybe a Kayan, and then the Kayan stop using it, and now no one uses it. It's not even something in circulation. So we're not going to talk about a Mekusher. So you're right. Maybe it should be in our Mishnah, but it's just not important enough to bring down. Va'ika Shalem Malchus. So now we had a whole sugya Mishnah. If a person wrote a get without giving honor to the kingdom, he didn't write he said, he put the date based on the Beis Hamikdash, not based on the current government. Says Gemara, it can't be in our Mishnah. Why? In our Mishnah, she doesn't have to leave her husband. In the Shalom Machas, you have to leave your husband. So this is in parentheses. What? Doesn't say what it is. It doesn't say what. We have machlokes what it is. It says the kids are not mamzer. So says the Gemara, according to Rameir, the kids are mamzer, but according to Rabbanan, the kids is kosher. Says the Gemara, Maikim law kid Rameir. So the Gemara is going to say that it's like Rameir that she has to leave her second husband. V'hasa, but over there by the Malchos, Avlad, V'asam Avlad mamzer, Hacha Avlad kosher. Fine. So that's that. Minyana dereisha, the mutimai. How can the Mishnah starts off saying shloisha? If you want to see what it looks like, the Mishnah starts off shloisha Gittin psulim. Then it says harei elu shloisha Gittin psulim. So we have twice that it says the word shloisha. Why do I need it? Says Gemara Minyana dereisha lemutei hanad amara. We just had a bunch of cases, right? To get Yashan, a Kireach, and Shalom Malchus, the date. These are 3 Gittin that don't belong in our Mishnah. So that's why the Mishnah says there are 3 Gittin and not 4, 5, 6, the 3 cases that the Gemara brought. And the reason why at the end of the Mishnah it says Harei L'Shloisha Gittin, to tell us right? The first Mishnah of Masechtas Gittin tells us that when you bring a get from out of the country, out of Eretz Yisrael, and you give it to her, you have to say B'fanei Nechtav, and he didn't say it. Yoitzi v'avlad mamzer. You have to divorce her, and the kid is a mamzer. Why is the kid mamzer? No, because kol hamishan mimatbeya shetovach chachamim havlad mamzer. Oh, I should have made it as Yidis Hashas. But I'm going to forget. So you're going to write me this. We'll put it in. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir is of the opinion, right? He's the same one. He's the one that said. So according to Rabbi Meir, it's beautiful. Vlad Mamzer. So it doesn't fit in our Mishnah because our Mishnah says Avlad kosher. There's only 3 that have Vlad a kosher. This case of not saying B'fanei Nechtav, the Vlad is a mamzer. So it doesn't fit in our Mishnah. Okay. Kate said Yasa. So according to Chacham, what do you do? Or according, if you give a get like that and you don't say B'fanei Nechta, we had that the other day. You take it from her, you take it back, she gives it to you, and you repeat the action in front of two. Says the Gemara, Kosav b'ksav yodai ve'ein olavein. That was the case in the Mishnah. It's his own handwriting, and we said it says in the pasuk Kosav law. But there's no edim. Omar Rav ksav yodai sheninu. Says Rav, it has to be his handwriting. So now, what is he saying? It doesn't say Kosav ksav yodai. So therefore, the Gemara asks right away, what is Rav adding to what we don't know? The Mishnah says, if he wrote it with his own handwriting, says Rav, it's his own handwriting. Ahayo, what is he talking about? Now, there's three cases in the Mishnah. Eli Mareisha, if he's talking about this case that's on the screen. Is it on the screen? Now it is, at least. Was it on before? No? Okay. If he's talking about the first case, Pshita, Ksav Yodek Tani. It says Mefurish, that's his handwriting. So Rav had no reason to repeat those words. Ve'elo amitziasa. It's talking about the second case that doesn't have the time. Hare Yechiel Michoel. It doesn't have the time, but has Edim. So what difference does it make if he wrote it or didn't write it? It doesn't add anything if he wrote it. Elo Seifa. It's talking about the final case that was Yishbizman Ve'im Bo Eloi Dechad. It has the time, but one of the Edim is missing. Daf Pevav Amud Beis. V'dafka ksav yodei ve'ed. And the only way this get could be kosher is if the husband wrote it and there's one aid. Together with the husband is a good aid. It's a good get. Aval ksav soifer ve'ed loy. But if the soifer wrote it and there's only one aid, then it's not kosher. Sponsored by MDY Tilling Group, where we daven Refuah Yisrael Shidduchim for Klal Yisrael and our MDY family. Join us to Hillim.8bindaf.com. By the way, if anybody is getting older and they need reading glasses, I'm going to let you know if this trick works. I heard about it and I saw a lot about it, but the doctor said I should do it. And today it's working great. And that is monovision. The one eye is the right prescription and the other eye is half the prescription. So that other eye reads and the other eye sees, and he says it's not a problem, doesn't strain the eyes, and you can do it. So far it's working Givaldik. I'll let you know. Ushmuel Amar, sometimes I share my dieting tips that don't always work. Sometimes I share the eyesight, whatever. Sometimes real estate tips. I'm not in the practice anymore, so don't really listen to me. Ushmuel Amar, afilu ksav soifer ve'ed. It's not true, says Shmuel. He's mechulik on Rav. If the soifer signed wrote the document, and there's one aid, that's enough. You have the soifer testifying. He didn't sign his name, but he wrote a get for somebody. Obviously, he knows what's going on. And there's one aid, that's enough. Sharei Shaninu, because we learn Kosav Soifer ve'eid kosher. Oh, mefurish. If you have a Soifer and one aid, it's good enough. V'Rav, so Rav says, well, we have a contradiction here. Don't bring me a ride from there. Midami. Hasam tinasa l'chatchila hachid de'eved. What do you mean? We have a contradiction. Over there, it says, go ahead and get married l'chatchila with Ksav Soifer ve'eid. Over here, it's saying b'di'eved. So if there's a contradiction, then that can't be the pshat. So what we have to say is that when it says that the soifer and the aid are enough, it means that the soifer signed his name. The soifer wrote the whole get, and then he signed his name. And then another aid signed his name. So how many aidim do we have? 2 great aidim. What's the problem? That's how Rav is going to learn. So the Gemara.
Make a difference to the right aid after the name.
Well, I don't know. Probably not. No. It's not a contradiction. I'll tell you why, he says. You're right. Both cases, the soifer wrote a get and one person signed. But you don't have a signature of the soifer, says Shmuel. I argue. So why is it not a contradiction? Why in one case you get married l'chatchila, one case you can't? He says, very simple. Ha b'safra de muvak, v'ha b'safra de le muvak. When you have a soifer, we had these svaras before in the Masechta. When you have a soifer that knows the halachas, and he knows that you need the husband to ask you to write and sign. So So you know that he's doing the right thing, and therefore it's a good get l'chatchila. So if you have a sofer that doesn't know the halachas, he's not a Talmid Chacham, so then you need his actual signature. Omar le Rebbe Elazar. Now, Omar le said to him, to Rabbi Yochanan, Rebbe Elazar. So Rebbe is usually a Tana. But the problem is that Rabbi Yochanan is already an Amoira, right? He's the first Amoira. So how could Rebbe Elazar say, so it has to be that Rebbe Elazar is an Amoira. R Yechiel Michoel Sapoznick. This that it says that there's Eidim, we learned that there's Eidim. No, that's the end of the Mishnah. That's another case. Says the Gemara, Zimna Rav Teitze, Zimna Rav Loy Teitze. If this woman uses a get, sometimes Rav said that she should leave her second husband. Sometimes Rav says you don't leave the husband. What's the pshat? Why is there a contradiction? Okay, it said Yesh labanim loy teitze. If she has children, then you don't want to make a rumor and a shem to go to yeshiva like that story I said yesterday by Baron Kotler that the kid is a mamzer. It's a terrible rumor. Ein labanim teitze. And this is all the Rabbanon. So you're going to say about a kid in a Gzeri the Rabbanon that he's a mamzer, and it's going to be pretty difficult in Shidduchim. Ein Rabbanon teitze. Mosamar Zutra Bartuvia. Rabbi Isai, this is Yevamis 101. This is like a typical Gishmaki Yevamis case. The good news is that we're not learning Yevamis. It's a one-time thing. We'll go by there. And we also have a great chart from Yoshi and explains it beautifully. It goes like this. The Chulon is referring to all 15 arayas of the first Mishnah in Yevamis. That is, in my opinion, the hardest daf in Yevamis, Daf Beis Amud Aleph. That the whole daf is okay. Whatever. No. The first Mishnah of Yevamis says that if you have two wives. You have a wife and a co-wife. A wife and a co-wife that fell yibum. Okay? So you have two brothers. One dies without children. The wife of the one that died falls liyibum. She has to marry the brother-in-law. What if there's two wives that fall? Then the brother-in-law can pick whoever he wants. The problem is one of the two wives that fell yibum is his own daughter or his own mother. Or his own whatever. So then both women are patur from Yibum completely. There is no Yibum B'chlal. So it goes like this. Let me just show you the chart and we'll make it easier. There are two brothers. These are the Bolman brothers from Yevamis, Reuven and Shimon. Brothers. The brother Shimon has a daughter called RBS. She's a typical RBS woman. She's a woman that went to a modern Orthodox school, but she became really frum later on in life, and now she lives in RBS. Okay, she wears interesting gym shoes with the hill, and she bumps into poles in RBS. The whole thing. You never seen these women? They daven as they walk. Oh, gosh, unbelievable. So here she is, Shimon's daughter. She's mischazik. Reuven marries his niece. It's a mitzvah to marry a niece. It is a mitzvah. He marries his niece, the RBS woman, and he marries another woman. What happens if Reuven goes bye-bye? Both of his wives fall to Yibum to Shimon, but there's a problem. Shimon cannot be miyabim his own daughter. So both of these women go free. No chalitza, no Yibum, nothing. Zero. That is the first Mishnah of Yevamis. That halacha. The thing what happened over here is it gets more interesting. Reuven gave a get to the RBS woman, but it was missing one of the Eidim, but it was missing the date. It had a problem that our Mishnah discusses. It's a suffix get. So what do you do with the suffix get? Oh, fine. So, but here's what happened. The RBS woman, so she went and she married some random guy. And I just put her, they have two children. And then Reuben goes bye-bye. If you say that in a case where she has 2 children or a child, Rav says, I'm making a distinction. If she doesn't have children, then Teitze. She has to leave the guy with holding his hand. She has to leave him. She has a bad get. She was never divorced. Not me, but okay, whatever. Should we set up? But if it's a good get and she has 2 children, then it's such a good get, Shimon will come to marry Rochel. Why? Because Shimon's daughter is not Rochel's co-wife anymore. There's 100% severance. If you're telling me there's a difference, that if the woman has children, then she doesn't even have to leave her husband. If she doesn't have to leave her husband, so she's not a co-wife to Rochel. She's nothing with Rochel. That's old history. And therefore, Shimon the brother should be miyabim Rochel. Yeah? We're holding? It's a little complicated, the case.
Unless she's otherwise married.
Unless what? Who's other?
Rochel is otherwise married.
Rochel can't be married. As soon as she was married to Ruvain and her husband died.
She get remarried.
No,
Her co-wife is remarried with children beforehand.
But then she has to be misyavim to Shimon because she doesn't have a co-wife. She doesn't have a co-wife. At the time that her husband passed away, she was by herself. She was the only wife. Her wife already married somebody else and had kids. And it's a great marriage. How do I know? Because she doesn't have to divorce him. But sometimes you do have to divorce. And if she had to divorce, then she's a co-wife to Rochel. And then there shouldn't be Yibum. So what do? You see, it causes a problem, says the Gemara. How can you tell me sometimes she's married and sometimes she's not married? Sometimes Shimon would do Yibum, sometimes he won't. It doesn't work like that. Let's see inside. I think we should do the case one more time slowly. Faster, but we'll do it again. So we see it inside again. All 15 arayas that had a Safek Kiddushin or Safek Gerish. The Gemara is going to explain what that is. I forgot to get that case. Okay, we had it, and you guys will remember. So the halacha is you do chalitza, you don't do yibum. Case that Safek Kiddushin. What's Safek Kiddushin? Zarek lo Kiddushin, Safek Karev lo, Safek Karev lo. I wanted to put the chart in. We just had it recently where he throws the get. Yosh did a whole animation. It was in the box, out of the box. Okay. Zeu Safek Kiddushin. We don't know if the Kiddushin fell next to her or next to her. Safek Gerushin. What's the case of Safek Gerushin? That's our case. That's Mamish our Mishnah. The 3 cases of our Mishnah that we say that the Vlad is kosher. How is it Safek Gerushin? Ask the Gemara. And if you say that the RBS woman who married another guy and had 2 children, she doesn't have to leave that husband. Shimon is going to be miyabim Rochel. Now let's see the case one more time, real quickly. 2 brothers, Reuven and Shimon. Shimon has a daughter called RBS. Reuven marries RBS. Reuven, the uncle, marries RBS and marries another woman. Then he goes and gives a get to RBS. So RBS goes and marries Guy Naphtali, and they have children. And if you tell me she doesn't have to divorce this guy, so when Reuven goes bye-bye, Shimon should be miyab and Rochel, because Rochel and RBS have 0 connection. RBS is already married and she doesn't have to leave her husband. Says the Gemara, let her be misyabim. Midaraisa she should. Midaraisa it's a great get, and she's completely married to Naphtali, and that's why she doesn't have to leave Naphtali. It was only Xeri de Rabbanon that she has to leave him. Okay, so let it be him. It's not the end of the world. Chashash de Rabbanon. Chashash de Rabbanon. Levi Omar, Loilam Leiteitze. Now, this is a very, very easy Gemara. This is what I'm telling you, it's like a freebie over here. It's going to be very repetitive. The Mishnah of the 3 Gittin that we had, she doesn't have to leave her husband if she gets divorced with one of these 3 Gittin. Even if she doesn't have children. Remember, Rav said a difference. If she doesn't have children, she has to get divorced. But if she has children, she doesn't have to get divorced. Says Levi, no matter what, no divorce. Rabbi Yochanan says you don't have to get divorced. Even if there's no children. This is what your father said. You don't have to leave. And this giant, we'll see in the Gemara what it means, a giant fly in the wheat. And a beiselas b'meichatas. Now what? Meichatas is if a person becomes tamei meis, you take a paraduma, you burn it, you take the ashes, pour it into water, take the water and sprinkle the guy that's tamei. If an animal, as the Gemara is going to say in a second, Omar Bayo, the difta, the beni kefi. Sorry, I missed the word. My kartzis, Omar Bayo, difta, the beni kefi. Here it is. Rabbi says the picture. It's a giant fly. I couldn't believe it. In Google, this straight out of Google. It could grow to almost 3 inches long, almost 4 inches of a wingspan. A giant fly. That's basically what the Gemara says, the size of kazayas, maybe more. Rashi says the size of a grasshopper. He calls it a zvuv, a fly, the size of a grasshopper. Huge. Thank goodness we don't have it here. So if you have this difta thing, now, what's going on here? The beni kefi. It's in a pile of hay. There was again, Gittin, Beles Breira. There was a big farmer in Amoret. He wanted to show off that his son is Mamash Gol Batayra. So he takes his son to the Rav. And he says, no, say, what's underneath the Aleph? So the son says, comets. What's underneath the Beis? He says, a patach. Oh, very, you see, Gimel, Chir, Dalid, Shva. What's under the hay? Garnished. I said, what's under the hay? Garnished. He says, listen, if you don't say what's under the hay, I'm going to give you a patch. He says, all the watches that you stole, you put under the hay. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. This is the beni kefi. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's desperate times. So, giant fly that hangs out under the hay. Maser Rav Daniel Barav Katino. Kol oifes psum mechatos chutz menayoyno mebnei shemoy tzetzes. So it goes like this. When you have this water, let's say this is the mechatos water. If you have a cow that drinks from the water, he's going to drink and dribble back in a little bit. So that's considered using the water. Ba'avoida. You have a bird that sips from the water, a little dribbles down, it ruins the mechatos. Chutz menayoyno, besides a pigeon, it's able to suck the water like a straw, nothing goes back down in. But if you're right, it should also say this giant fly also is not poisel mechatas that we just said. Yeah, it was just a side thing. We're talking about the loy and another Allah, the kartzis, and the giant fly doesn't pass the water. Just a side, got sidetracked for a second. So I can't put it in the list of a pigeon and a giant fly because it's not 100%. The G'dayla pass. If it's a giant fly, then it doesn't pass. Uktana pass, but if it's a smaller size, then it does pass. That kama, what's a giant, what's a small? The giant is a kazayis. Rabbi Lezo Omer Afal even though there's no Eidim. Omer Rabbi Domer Rav Halachic Rabbi Gittin. Here, this is where it's freebie. That the Eidim is Siri Karte according to Rabbi Lazar, and therefore I don't need to Eidim to sign. So this is what it says in Yirmiyah. It says in Yirmiyah that you should sign a document, a regular document. So in Mela, he says, no, the Allah is like Rebbe Lazar only by Gittin, that to witness it is enough, you don't have to sign again. But when it comes to regular documents, Allah is not like Rebbe Lazar. Shmuel says, no. Omar, Afbishtaris. So why? What about this pasuk? It says in the pasuk Chasayim. That says it's a taiva kamash malon. He's just teaching us good practice, business practice. You should always have somebody sign a document, but you don't need it. Rav Sava Bishtaris loy, and Rav argues. It says in the Mishnah that when it comes to the document, you could use. You don't need Eidim to sign. It says Gemara Rabbi Lazar Tati Omar. Rav Sava will say bechada, or probably bechada. Rav passing Zerk Rabbi Lazar, but only by a get, not by documents. V'chein Omar Rabbi Agam Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi halach Rabbi Lazar begittin. The halach is like Rabbi Lazar that Eidim Misir Kadi you don't need Eidim to sign. Rabbi Ani Omar filu reach get ein boy. Rabbi Ani argues and says not a get at all. It's a terrible get if you don't have Eidim sign. It doesn't even shmek like a get. It's 0, 0, 0. Imagine a get. It's missing 10 out of the 12 lines. Is it a get? No, it's not a get. So if you don't have the signatures, it's not a get. Rabbi Ani, less than Lazar, what? He doesn't hold like Lazar. The Rabbanan afilu recha getein boy. I hold like Rabbi Elazar, but Rabbanan hold it's nothing. V'chein or Raiza Gitl. Rabbi Yochanan Amar afilu recha getein boy. The same exact thing, but different names. Lemer Rabbi Yochanan less than Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold like Rabbi Elazar. The Rabbanan afilu recha getein boy. Shal Rabbi Zav the Mori Bar Mar. Boy, my name Ravuna. Please ask Ravuna. Halach Rabbi Elazar. We Gittin no yen halacha. Is the halacha like Rabbi Elazar that you don't need Aiden to sign the get? Adachi noch nafshe the Ravuna. Before they got to asking the question, Ravuna was nifter. What do you see from here? You got to Chaparain. No, I'm saying like when Chaim Kanevsky was still alive, I kept on saying I got to bring my kids. Yeah, I'm gonna have charot if I don't bring. Of course, I didn't. I mean, I did like 3 years before, but it's like now what? It's too late. When they were here, they were here. Okay, you don't need signature. They said in the name of Rav. I never seen so many. I mean, maybe there are other places in Shas. I just don't remember. Just repeats. The halach is like Rabbi Elazar Gittin. Some say the Chavareda beginning with Talmidim Rabbeinu Mishum Rabbeinu Amru, and the Talmidim of Rav said in the name of Rav. Halach Rabbi Elazar Gittin. The Rochel Rav said in the name of Rav. Halach Rabbi Elazar Gittin. The Chengi also Rav. Halach Rabbi Elazar Gittin. Wow. Says the Eli Mishnah, Shnayim Sheshochu Shnei Gittin Mishavim in Sarvu. They send the get. Yaakov ben Ruvain is divorcing Sprinzel Baz Gitl. Okay, here's the get. Oh, wait a minute. What's your name? Chaim Sprinzel. Whoa. Same. Okay, what's the father's name? So everything matches. They live in the same city, the whole thing. 1-on-1. Then in Sarvu, and the Gittin got mixed up. Somebody wrote me an email. It seems that so many Gittin that the husbands are mean to the wives. We're talking about theoretical halachas. What in the worst case scenario happens this, that? Did this ever happen? Never. But it's a theoretical question and we need to know it, and it applies to other halachas as well. Two exact Gittin, what would you say? What's the halacha? It doesn't mean it happened. What if? The whole shas, what if? The halacha is you give both of them to each, and they're divorced. There's a way out of it. And therefore, if you can't find one of them and they got mixed up, then you can't do anything with it. This is a very interesting story. Also never happened. They wanted to save money on the ink, so 5 people wrote on one document. They're all divorcing their wives. It's like COVID. After COVID, why wait in line? Remember those lines in China? Like 4 blocks long and people are getting divorced. They had enough of their wives sitting in the same house for months. So, just right here, fill in the blank. Like for what do they do? For politics. Petition. Just sign. And the bottom, they're going to sign a signature. Givaldic. So that's exactly what they did. This guy's been divorcing this wife. And there's Eidim on the bottom. Kulam Sherin. It's a great get. And you just have to go and deliver it to each and every one. But what if, and the Gemara is going to explain what this is, this typhus. If they wrote a typhus to each and every one, and the Eidim on the bottom, so all the top ones are no good, and wherever there's Eidim, it's good. Says the Gemara, just we'll learn these 3 lines here. Man Tana, who says that you could give 2 Gittin that are mixed up to 2 women, just give it to one, take it from her, and give it to the second, and they're both divorced. This doesn't go like the Rabbi Elazar. What does Rabbi Elazar say? The main Eidim are the ones that see the giving of the get, not the ones that are signing. Where's the Lishma? They don't know which one it is, and that can't be Lishma. It's not true. Rabbi Elazar says you need to write the kosav. The ksiva has to be Lishma. Nesina Lishma mibai. You don't have to give it Lishma. They just have to see. And even if they don't know what they're seeing, one of the 2 is the get. That's good enough. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. Tomorrow here, Beis Hashem at 7:30. We'll try to be more on time. Thank you for coming.